Henderson leaving 96 to take the opening leg against Fern. It should also be stated that not just are we doubling in and doubling out, if it is the first time you've joined us this week, we are playing best of 5 as opposed to best of 7. And so that break of throw there for Henderson on the back of that 96 finish could be as fatal, if not even more fatal, as it would be in the best of 7 game.
Mason Whitlock 96.
Whitlock hasn't had a dart and a double to end a leg so far in this match. But he's going to get another one at double 19. Oh, that's superb. Just when he was in the mire, he finds a double-double to keep himself in the contest and to force Henderson to serve it out. Thornton, sometimes you can feel so relaxed and so far in front that you coast, and sometimes you need that wake-up call, and that's exactly what Henderson got in the previous leg. This has to go, though, for Whitlock. Treble for the ball. Not to be, and so Henderson will come back for 47 to eventually cross the finishing line. Has missed a match start.
Yeah, we've talked about his focus. It's back on double top.
27, Mesuka 65.
Interesting stuff, Henry. Centre of the board you would expect. And gets it. Big moment in this match here for young Mason.
25,
he would have been able to claw back a game which he looked completely out of, but Henderson to finally put the boot in to finally claim the W. Double 10. And the Highlander eventually crosses the finishing line. He gets the better of Mason Whitlock by 3 legs to 1. It's the perfect start for the reigning World Seniors champion up against the apprentice. It's a 3-1 win for John Henderson against Mason Whitlock to kickstart the afternoon's proceedings. That's how the game went from a statistical viewpoint. Henderson in the winner's enclosure. Next up, it's Devon Peterson up against Richie Burnett. 3-0 win.
Yeah, we did talk about the fact that Devon could be a slow side, how he would benefit from a Group A
93,
campaign.
Richie Carr 40.
But for Richie Burnett, struggled in that Group A campaign, but that is the best performance of the week from Richie Burnett. Dare I say, very controlled, very cool, very calm. A lot more work needed for Devon Peterson as he strolls up the stage there. But the Welshman was brilliant. Now he's just sort of going through his game there. But 1 win out of 1 for Richie Burnett. Absolutely superb. As we move on to game 3, it's the return of Scott Mitchell. And for the first time this week, he plays Ted Everts. It's the fact that Scott's been superb in this. Might need the bullseye to take his first leg. It is bullseye the effort.
59.
Fabulous attempt. This will feel like a bit of a freebie for Scott Mitchell. Bit of a freebie. 1 dart for a big 2-0 lead.
Game shot on the
Practice makes perfect. He missed the double for it last time. He pins it this time. 3 players dropping out of Group A would have won all 3 matches for the concession of 2 legs combined.
Sensational dart. Scotty, too hotty. A sensational first game for Scott Mitchell against a very impressive Ted Everts. It's smiles all round. I do think Ted Everts will bounce back because he produced some really good darts in there. And Scott Mitchell saying, why? Why am I producing the darts? Where were you in Group A? But I would say it's not how you start, Scott Mitchell, it's how you finish. And look at that average. We've seen some brilliant 100-plus averages this week, but that 94.45 is Scott's best. That sublime 108 finish, 50% on the outer ring, and he got off first start in every single leg. What a start! And speaking about what a start, John Henderson's up next. He's looking for 2 wins out of 2. He plays Devon Peterson.
Tots of Henderson.
19.
Not to be, and Devon Peterson, who at times has been a passenger in this contest, is going to get 3 darts in his hand at tops to take us all the way. It's a match that probably shouldn't have a last leg decider, but does. Henderson spurning a couple of opportunities to win the match. Peterson very scrappy for Hendo very quickly.
Incredible moments here. Devon Peterson second best in this game. But he has 2 match darts. One's gone astray.
57.
Missed opportunity.
And now Peterson's missed 2 to pinch it. But who's going to clinch it? Eventually it's Hendo. Eventually he wins. He could have won that far more comfortably than he did, but he will be a relieved man that he's just about got those 2 points in his leisure. It gives him a 4-point gap on Devon Peterson, and it gives the World Seniors champion the perfect start to proceedings. That's the game from a statistical viewpoint. 3 from 18 on the doubles to finish the legs in the end for John Henderson, but he won't care. He's got the points on the board. Coming up after the break, it is Scott Mitchell and Mason Whitlock. Mitchell then took advantage, and from that point onwards, there's only really been one likely winner of this contest. What do you give for another treble?
100.
He'll take the 81.
Yes, I think he's just running his own race at the moment, Scott Mitchell. He's in that zone that you just want to be in as a player. Doesn't need to go the 12 bull. We've seen his experience. He likes treble 18 when he's got the time, and that's the reason for double 4. And it's Majestic Mitchell here at the Motor Super Series. 2 wins out of 2, and he joins John Henderson at the top. Both players have played 3 days already. Maybe their best art is to come, because Scott Mitchell so far has been absolutely brilliant, dropping only 1 leg in his 2 games. Mason Whitlock pushed him in that second leg, but Scott Mitchell, despite that, kept Whitlock down to just 3 darts at a double. Good stats again for Mitchell. 94 average in his first game, just shy of 82 in that game. Mitchell is up and running. Can that Group A continue with the success? Because Richie Burnett's up next. He plays Ted Everts. Yeah, a few options here. Treble 19 or even... So 52 points left. Or is it... For double top. Isn't this good?
Second leg.
Isn't this very good? The 1995 world champion.
14 followed by a 50. Burnett 2 to the good. And Everts must be thinking, what am I walking in front of here? 102.59 is the average. If he takes this out, he'll break the double trouble average record of 102.48. That was by John Henderson on Tuesday. But Richie Burnett is bang on that average. We have a tied record for double trouble. 102.48 for Richie Burnett to get the better of Ted Everts by 3 legs to 0. And that is only the 4th ever ton plus average in the history of this competition. Richie Burnett beats Ted Everts by 3 legs to 0, tying the record for an average in this double start competition. It is majestic from the former world champion, who is playing the darts of a world champion. As for Everts, well, he has got work to do. Henderson and Mitchell go toe-to-toe after the break. The winner of that one will be the first to 6 points. It even begins. 106 for Mitchell, 87 remaining. Treble 17 is the intended target, and that leaves in double 18 to take out the opening leg with his second ton plus checkout of the day. The 106 joins the 108, and Mitchell one up with a break.
Game on.
And he's been good at starting as well. Can he hurt Hendo? Yes, he can. Even very early in this match now, you can just see Hendo looking away.
160.
Spectacular start. Barring a bullseye start, the best you can do on this board. And Henderson, you have to say, is floundering a little bit.
No score.
Mitchell miles in front already. Up to the perfect start, which continues. And continues. But 5 is as far as we get. Looking at tops for 3 wins from 3. 2 10s. And Mitchell's clear. He's top of the table. A hat-trick of wins for Scotty Dog. And once again, it's a comprehensive success. He gets the better of John Henderson by 3 legs to 0. And he moves to the top of the pile on 6 points, having dropped just the 1 leg so far today. Mitchell 3, Henderson 0. Complete.
41.
We'd have to say is a rout. Double 10 to complete the job. A demolition job on Devon. And Peterson will be feeling that sinking feeling once again. Ted Everts a 3-0 victor over the South African. He gets his first points on the board. Everts a 3-0 victor against Devon Peterson. Himself on 78.
But very patient, Henry. Like I said, he wasn't throwing his arms about. And that last start to leave 78. He's done this already today, this 78 finish, chatting away to himself.
56, Richie O'Carr, 78.
And for 3 wins, out of 3.
To join Scott Mitchell on 6 points in the group. He is going to get a dart at tops. And a dart is all that Burnett needs to bag a hat-trick of victories. He gets the better of Mason Whitlock by 3 legs to 1. It means him and Mitchell both prized at the top. Both on 6 points, both plus 8 legs difference. You cannot separate the pair. Burnett's only top of the table on alphabetical order. He beats Mason Whitlock by 3 legs to 1. That's the end of round 3. Round 4 get underway with Scott Mitchell in action against Devon Peterson.
Scott O'Carr, 40.
A great feeling for the unbeaten Scott Mitchell. Double 10. Formidable. 4 wins out of 4 for Scott Mitchell. He is looking superb today. It might be all smiles around there, but when he's on that rocky, he's focused, he's determined, and look at his reaction. He knows where the camera is. The little nodded head to say, this Group C campaign is all about me. He's been excellent with those 4 wins, and once again, averaging round about the 90 mark throughout. Ends 86.71. Really good at checking in, excellent at checking out. Super day for Scott Mitchell. A big game coming up next for the top of the table. It's Richie Burnett against John Henderson.
Oh, perfect. Another one of them. Tops. The Highlander hits the heights. A 160 finish to break the throw of Burnett.
66.
On the 66.
Well, we know Burnett will get his kicks. He's now looking at tops for the match. For 8 points in the group, he will hope that he's got 3 more.
Earlier in the week, Richie Burnett had a 146 finish himself. Was one against him? Absolutely not. Burnett will be back.
90. Richie O'Carr,
2 10s to close this contest out. Up for 5s. For win number 4 for Richie Burnett, and it means that him and Scott Mitchell are on a collision course in the final round of fixtures. He beats John Henderson 3-1. Hendo, who'd won his first 2, has lost his last 2. But for that man there, Richie Burnett, he may look hot and bothered, but he is very much in the picture. He's top of the table, joint top of the table, alongside Scott Mitchell. That the tail of the tape. Burnett, a 3-1 winner against John Henderson. Coming up after the break, it is Ted Everts up against Mason Whitlock.
Ted O'Carr, 120.
He's hanging in there, isn't he? He's been the best of the debutants, that's for sure. Treble 20 needed to see out this game. Gets it. Tops for a 120 finish. Everts moves on to 4 points in a one-sided win over a dejected Mason Whitlock there as he walks up the stage. Ted Everts has remained professional throughout. The first couple of results didn't go his way, but a lot of that's to do with how his opponents played against him. But Ted is just beginning to show the signs of what we expect from him on that stage. Once again, the checkout ratio from the players this week, 3 from 4 from Everts. That's superb. And what a way to win it with that Shanghai 120. Huge game coming up. 2 players unbeaten after 4. It's Richie Burnett against Scott Mitchell. And Richie Burnett, it's a tall order, but the type of finishes he has been taken this week. You can see Mitchell for the first time shake his head.
65. Scott O'Carr, 20.
To cross the finishing line, to complete the card, and to complete a perfect day. Double 10. 2 5s for win number 5. And Scotty Dog is top dog. He completes the card at a canter. He conceded just a solitary leg throughout the course of the day. He beats Richie Burnett by 3 legs to 0, and he is in cruise control of this group. He played 16 legs today. He won 15 of them. Mitchell, very much the man, very much in control, and very much on the cusp of a Saturday night appearance. He beats Richie Burnett by 3 legs to 0 to complete the card.
Let's not take anything away from what's been a brilliant performance from Mason Whitlock. Doesn't need to go the 20 bull route, just leaves it pretty.
55.
Super darts, super performance.
Some response to what has been a challenging and trying day. You can see in the background that it has taken its toll, but he may well
60.
get some points on the board,
52.
some reward for his efforts. Double 16.
Superb on the outer ring in this game.
And
when he needs it most, it's there as well. That was a fabulous performance from Mason Whitlock. Both the players went into that game without a win under the belt, and he'll be one happy individual. And what might even be better for him is that his first game tomorrow will be against Devon Peterson. Was averaging mid-80s throughout that game. Superb on the outer ring. That was a splendid performance from the Aussie on what's been an excellent day of darts. And as we move on to the final game, it will be between John Henderson and Ted Everts. But just before that, we will be listening and chatting with top of the table, Scott Mitchell. That's up next.
Both players on 10 plus outs. Everts first go with the 126. He's already had the 120 today. Is he going to add another one to the collection? Oh, beautiful double 6. Super darts and Super Ted. The 126 goes. He leads 1-0. He gets the break. And the Highlanders getting broken down brick by brick of his third win on the spin to put him onto 6 points and to keep himself in the equation.
22.
Tops does not go.
John Ricard, 14.
Yeah, I think he fancied that, didn't he? A little talk to himself there. And Henderson's back to that same target. Probably the same position. Can he adjust?
No score. Ted Ricard,
Story
40.
of his day. Story of the second half of his day. And Everts now comes back for tops to complete a turnaround of his fortunes on day one. He lost his first 2 matches, but he's unable
20.
to win this one, which would make it 3 wins on the spin.
Yeah, just a couple of seconds there for John Henderson. I was wondering if he was thinking about splitting. It's getting smaller and smaller, the target, and Hendo is having a nightmare.
2 10s for Ted to eventually cross the finishing line. Shuffles across, but cannot find.
No score.
Doesn't want it.
14.
Yeah, you don't often see Ted shaking his head. Wouldn't it be some turnaround if John can see out this leg and then see out the match? Probably feel a long way away right now.
No score.
That was not a repeat of his previous attempt.
The stubborn Scot may well be hoisted by his own sword, because Ted Everts takes out the 10s to complete a turnaround of his fortunes on Thursday. Ted Everts lost his first 2 matches but has gone on to win his last 3. And it means that he's very much in the mix going into Friday's action. A 3-0 win for Ted Everts against John Henderson ends his day on the high. The Highlander, who had won his first 2, has lost his last 3, and it means that he is going to need a big end to proceedings if he is to progress through to the finals of Double Trouble 2. But it is Scott Mitchell and Richie Burnett that lead the way. Mitchell with a perfect day, Burnett on 8 points. We will analyse all of the action on the other side of this short break. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where our Thursday afternoon action has been completed at the live lounge. Pause. Myself and Glenn Dunn have been watching every single dart in the commentary box. This is what we've seen. It's been a group dominated by Scott Mitchell and Richie Burnett. Out of our 15 games we've seen today, 9 of them have been won by that particular pair. That, the full running order in terms of results. Glenn Dunn alongside me here in the shoot. There's only one place to start, and that's with Scott Mitchell. He won all 5 of his matches, dropping just one leg throughout the whole course of the session. That's as dominant a group performance over the course of a day that you'll ever see.
Yeah, and the interesting scenario was the fact he was so close to going into Group B. You'd expect that to be his preferred option where to go to. And chat with him last night, he felt like Group C was a group he sees himself as, the best player, and boy, did he prove it.
And I think one of the biggest things that we've spoken about has been his focus over the course of the day. He said in here that he was having a chat with his wife last night, talking over a few things. Whatever happened in that pep talk definitely worked.
It can feel like a real individual sport, but when you've got that team behind you, whether it's your wife, your family, your friends, supporters, etc. But he just looked good all day. I mean, he peppered that, playing a little bit quicker on Monday. He had that focus on the league table. He might be shaking his head there, but that's the only head shake we've seen from him all day, because he was just super solid. It was the only opportunity Richie Burnett had in that game. And like I said, looking at this double 10 for 5 out of 5, the England captain, he's so solid, so professional, up to double 5, takes his time and measures it perfectly.
We speak a lot about the players and how they do things when they're off the hockey, but we don't maybe talk a lot about the support networks, the family, the friends, the people that are around you in those key moments. How important is it to have those right people in the corner, and how much of a difference do they make?
I just can't stress the importance. I mean, you get someone like Peter Wright where it's just him and his wife. Then you get other players where it's a huge management stable, etc. But just having that someone to pick up the phone to when your things aren't going the way. And once again, the wife was right.
Well, let's have a look at the table. We're going to talk about the rest of the players in the group, but I just want to talk about that chasm. It's a uniform table. Mitchell on 10 points, Burnett on 8 points. But will he feel vulnerable in that position when you consider the way he lost that game to Scott?
He'll feel vulnerable the fact that Ted Everts, despite losing his first 2 games, has then, been absolutely brilliant. I think it's like 9 legs on the spin, maybe 8 out of 9 for Ted Everts, because that's what Ted can do. He doesn't let things get on top of him like some players could do. And like I said, it's going to be a real interesting. Ted Everts has got a big first game against John Henderson tomorrow, because how can you overlook him despite the fact he's been nowhere near his best? We're waiting for the best of Henderson to come. So from the opening game tomorrow, we've got a cracking Group C campaign.
Let's talk about Ted in a bit more detail. We're worried about the results, but maybe not worried about the performances after the first couple of matches. How much in terms of a mental headspace, how impressive are you in that side of the game when you consider he won his last 3 from what was pretty much a standing start?
I think sometimes for his own good, he's too intelligent for the game. Sometimes he can overanalyze things, before and after. And I use the word, I'd like to see Ted play with a little bit more instinct. Like I say, he loves the game. He's desperate to be a professional player. He'll have hated the fact of coming off the circuit. But sometimes in life you have to take a step backwards to move forwards. And I think, despite the fact he's had a bit of a shoulder injury, I thought he looked in good nick today.
When you say play with instinct, what do you mean by that?
Like, don't overthink the situation. Just let a dart come off your fingers and your elbow and do a leg kick and just let it go in. Sometimes he wants to throw the dart so perfect every time. It's as if it's very robotic. This is how I stand. This is how I throw. And sometimes you just need the odd, just let the rhythm find itself.
In terms of John Henderson, he won his first 2 matches today, but he must be thinking opportunity missed.
Yeah, definitely. But as you obviously pointed out as well, I mean, during the early part of the day, he was winning quite scrappy. He did have this beautiful 160, but the highlight reel will only be pretty minimal. It's not something we expected from John Henderson. After the disastrous day 1, I could understand where he finished in Group A, but I fully expected him to do with Scott Mitchell today. I thought he'd go through the card, minimum 4 wins. It hasn't happened, and time is running out.
Yeah, time running out for John Henderson. That's Group C. Scott Mitchell leads the way. But we've got one more session to go today. Group B gets underway later on the season. We're going to see Robert Thornton and Andreas Harrison, who dropped out of Group A, back in action. Then we're going to see the arrivals of Jess Smith, Adam Lipscomb and Bradley Brooks. I want to talk in particular about Jess Smith, because he's been the player that you've highlighted from that Group B field pretty much from day 1. Why do you think he's going to be so adept to this format?
Consistency. He's a good doubles hitter. He's deceptively big scorer. But what you've got tonight is no weak link. you've got no one who you're thinking he could be the dead rubber. He could be the one where we'll really attack. I wouldn't be surprised at any three that qualifies from there. I'm really excited for the Group B campaign. Andreas Harrison just began to find his form yesterday. I mean, it's littered. I mean, it's a stacked field, and any 3 from 5 can go through that. It would take a brave man to pick the 3 from that.
Considering his numbers in Group A, is Thornton the man to beat?
He's been getting in 40-odd% on day 1, 44% day 2. They're the kind of things. And he's checking out as well. I guess it's the mid part, his power scoring. That's one area. He is suffering with a little bit of a bad back as well. That Group A campaign for these seniors is not easy. The fact that he's had extra 12 hours maybe might help Robert Thornton. But yeah, he's been good, but a missed opportunity on day 3 when I thought if he could get through that Group A, qualify and have a couple of days off, that might have suited him better.
And just quickly, going back to this afternoon, Scott Mitchell could be one step closer to becoming the second commentator to win a week here at the Super Series.
Yes, you'd say that with a wry smile because, we say he's a commentator, but for me, he's still a player stroke commentator, and I still think he has dreams and aspirations of being a professional player, and with darts like he produced today, who's going to argue with that?
Is it difficult, that mix, that blend? I mean, you got into commentary kind of towards the end of your playing career, so you didn't kind of cross over too much, but can one affect the other? I
think Scott would say yes as well. I think, he was, when he lost his card, he was putting together 100 averages. I don't think I've ever seen a player lose 6-5, 5-4 so much as Scott Mitchell. He identified the fact that not qualify for Euro Tours, he was matching with, he was up there with the best of them. And the fact that you start then incorporating commentary means that you're not getting as much practice as you once was. He'll have some decisions to make, but he'll be right up there as one of the favourites at Q-Skill.
Right, we've done enough talking for one day. Thank you for your company, Glenn.
Thank you, Henry.
We shall see you tonight from 10 p.m. on the Super Series YouTube channel and see how Group B gets underway, and it's stacked and littered with top-class talent. But top of the class is Scotty Dog. He's top dog. Bye from us.